Hi, and welcome to my third video. I'm camera shy and trying to get used to being on camera, so I wanted to make this third video sooner. I've had a lot going on. Just an update. I live in my RV. I wanted to try van life, RV life, and I've got a Class C RV I live in. About 3 years ago, life took a change. I got forced into it quicker, and rather than me just doing it like I was planning on doing it, I kind of kept putting it off. But anyway, a lot of stuff happened 3 years ago. I ended up kind of getting forced into it. Been living in it for 2 years. Actually, on the road, I lived in it about a year that in a family member's driveway while I was started working at this other job. Anyway, but 3 years in the camper, 2 years on the road. Anyway, been out of a job since May, so that's June, July, August. Counting fingers here. End of September, so that's 4 months. My finances are depleted, and I'm gonna make it. By making these videos, hopefully they're gonna be an inspiration at some point. And I started them ahead of time to show. So I'm doing them well. I got rough times, so that way, when the better times come, I can show that my faith that I know things are going to get better. Anybody can go back and look at these older videos and see when I was going through the hard times and when things get better. Because I think things are going to get a lot better and really good. I think I'm on a good path. That's a little nerve-wracking, but and I haven't figured out exactly how to incorporate totally about how I'm going to talk about God or my faith each time. I'm just kind of winging it here. But I want to also express how things are tough, and I got like $20 some left at the moment. Unemployment's been denied. I've got to go try to get that reconsidered again. I got a lot of stuff to do. I did a lot. That's why there's space between my second video and my third video. I've been busy trying to do so much stuff because I'm worried about surviving. Winter's coming, and so I've been contacting churches and stuff, and I don't need food yet, and I didn't want to take food cards from them. They offered me food cards, but I said, no, not yet. I said, because I still have food in my camper, and other people could use that right now. I don't need that at the moment. I'm worried about fuel because I like to keep moving, and sorry, I'm doing got a video that I've been working on here. I should have that turned down. I was doing some editing, but anyway, I'm getting off track here. So they told me even if I get my reconsideration to go through, that won't take place for at least 45 more days, which it really scared me about me out because I think, okay, I got 45 more days to figure out. Even if that goes through, I'm still looking for work and stuff, and I was shocked how many in job applications I have on my applications list, and it was up to 90. I think it's at 92 right now or something like that. But anyway, so it's not like I'm being a slouch or something, just looking around. Although I would much rather do this and make videos. I've got this is a new channel for me because I've got another channel that got set aside for a few years with all this craziness I had going on. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. So things are tough, and I just want to. It's hard to kind of do that, but because I'm camera shy as it is, but yet go out on a limb and show vulnerabilities. But I think it's important because I've always helped people in my life, and I always, tried to be or do or serve people, the best I can. And it all goes with my walk with Christ, my spiritual belief of God, and God, I got so many stories of stuff that was just amazing. And thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe. share it, all that good stuff. I always forget to say that. They say you're supposed to remind people. Anyway, my faith is unbreakable. I know God exists, and that will never ever change. How I know God exists? Well, I've known it all along anyway, but I got in an argument with him a long time ago. I've debated with him numerous times when life's gotten tough. But my daughter's mom, when we were young, and that didn't end up working out. And my daughter's amazing, but she's just something else. I love her. But at the time, she was just a little one, and she was going to have her Halloween trick-or-treating. And I went over to my ex's house at the time to be able to go see my daughter all dressed up in her little outfit and go trick-or-treating together, And, it was a hard deal for me when that didn't work out, because in my mind I thought I had already had tunnel vision. I thought we were going to end up growing old together and raising a family and stuff. When that didn't work out, I had to rethink my whole life, because everything I had already seen was gone, And at the time, when we went for that Halloween deal, my ex was dating this guy. He was a really nice guy. I don't remember his name, but he was a nice guy. I'd come over and see the kids, and he was comfortable with it. And then it was a different situation. I didn't realize I could ever be in a situation like that, because when I was younger, there's jealousy and all these other things, and I still had those feelings, but it was just different. I don't know. But anyway, that after, I don't want to get too sidetracked here because I want to get to my story here. And after we went trick-or-treating and stuff, like I said, it was a really different experience. Me, my ex, and her boyfriend all sat down at her dining room table, played Monopoly. I don't know how many hours we played it, but I was drinking some beers, and I had root beer schnapps, and I don't drink these days. I don't drink for years. I've had a drink or two here or there, like on Christmas Eve or something like that or whatever, but not on a regular basis. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink or do drugs or nothing. I used to when I was young out of high school. I did a lot of stupid shit or stuff I should have never done. Anyway, but it's all part of who I am today, and experiences. But I don't want to get sidetracked. So anyway, we played Monopoly. I'd been drinking. Got later in the night. He had to get going because he had to get home, get some sleep. He had to work in the morning, so he's like flying out the door saying, "Hey man, it's been a blast. We'll talk to you guys later. I got to get going and get home." And there he goes. I was pretty torqued. So I asked my ex if it'd be okay if I crashed on her couch until I sobered up because I didn't want to drive. Even though I was drinking, I'm smart enough not to drink and drive. Never, I've always had a pretty good head on my shoulders, even under the influence. And when I asked her that, she paused and inhaled, and I just said, "It's okay," because if she had just answered right away, sure, not a problem, then I would have done that. But the minute she inhaled or paused, I knew she was uncomfortable with that, and I didn't want her to feel that way or that. So I just said, I'll be fine. She's like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" I said, "Well, I can't drive. If I pulling out, I might hit the car in front of me." I said, "I just know I can't." I said, "I'll go be a woodsman for a while, until I sober up." She said, "You'll freeze to death," because it was Halloween night and it was freezing cold. We're in northern climate here. And anyway, so to get on my journey, I went to my car and I took out a pair of socks to prevent myself from getting frostbite on my fingers, and a can of starting fluid, and headed up on this hike up into the woods and where this ski tubing area is. And there's a spot in the woods where when I was younger back then I used to party and stuff, and we'd have a fire where you could see the cities from this bluff on the woods, and I knew I could go up there and get a fire going until I sobered up, and stay warm. So on my way in there, I was under the influence, and I'm laughing and singing and crying to God, and I used to sing to God a lot when I was a little kid. But anyway, while I'm laughing and singing and crying to him, I'd known God has always given me different signs in life that I just took that was from God. I just knew, something happened. Like one time my motorcycle didn't start when I had an intense situation going on. Then it did start, and down the road, heard a deer ran across in front of me. Well, had my motorcycle started right away on that time, well, I might have got tangled up in them deer, So I know that that was God's way of saving me from that accident, you know. Just that delay in time, you know, and I can feel that, you know. Well, anyway, back to where I'm at in this hike, heading into the woods. I was mad and hurting because my life wasn't going where I thought it was, and I guess I was taking it out on God because I was not happy with my life, I guess. I don't know. So while I'm arguing with God, and I'm laughing and singing and going through all these different emotions, and I told him that he's always giving me signs, and I know it was him, but because my life was hurting so much, I don't know if I was just mad at him or because I know in my heart, I knew he existed. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been arguing with him, you know. But I told him I wanted him to prove to me that he existed. So I told him I was going to think of something, and he was going to show it to me, rather than it just being something that happened and then I took it as a sign from him. This time I was going to think of something. I said, "You're going to show it to me." And I said, and if you show it to me, whatever it is I think of, then I'll never ever doubt your existence again. I said, but I haven't thought of what it is yet, you know, because I'm trying to think of a good thing to make it hard for him, you know. Can you imagine that? Trying to make it hard for God. No, you know, I was drinking. Anyway, so about halfway in, I thought of it. And I said, I know, I want a brick. You showed me a brick, and there was like a red brick in my mind, like my grandpa's house was built with. And anyway, I thought, you show me a brick in the middle of these woods where there ain't no buildings or nothing. You show me a brick in the dark in the middle of these woods, I will never doubt your existence again. You know, that's it. That's what I want to see as a brick. And I was only halfway into where I had to go, so from that point, after I made a decision what I wanted, I kept going and singing and talking, laughing, crying, all that stuff, you know. Being drunk, I guess, you know. And I get up there where I'm going to have the fire, and from the moonlight, you could kind of see through the trees where there was no grass and it was dirt where the fire was were. So I had to go get some wood in the dark. And I'm bending branches, because if they're bending, they're too green and they won't burn, and they're snapping dry, well, then I can burn them. So I'm like trying to, and I'm feeling on the ground and stuff, and I get enough brush together and get a fire going. And I lay down by it, between my still talking to God the whole time, laughing, singing, crying, all going through all these emotions, and fall asleep, pass out, whatever, and fire dies down. I'm starting to freeze. I wake up. I'm still too drunk to drive. So I get up, and I go into the darkness of the woods again to try to find more wood to burn to get the fire going again. And I trip over something. And I hope I don't get my YouTube shut off for swearing, but I'm going to say exactly what happened. I trip over something, I pick it up, and it's a block of wood, the identical size of the brick I had in my mind. And I held it up in the sky, and I'm crying and laughing and stuff, and I'm yelling at God, and I said, it's pretty good, but it's not a fucking brick, you know, and I'm screaming. So, but I thought I'd seen humor in it, you know, because I like comedy. And I went back to the fire with my brush and stuff, got the fire going again, and I used that block of wood to prop my head up so my neck wouldn't be so crooked, you know. And I fall asleep again, and I wake up, and so the fire's died down, I'm waking up, I'm cold. And I'm sober enough, you know. I know I can drive now, so I'm not going to be a danger to no one. So we're going to snuff the coals out and put dirt on it and stuff, but something told me to go forage for wood a third time, you know, because I got a thing with the three because of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So I go for wood a third time. And I tripped over a brick in the woods, in the dark. And I picked it up, and I started crying. And I told him, I said, I'm so sorry for doubting or just being the way I was, and that I'd never doubt him again. And that's a true story. So I ended up putting that brick by the fire once I got going again the third time to heat the brick up, so that way I could kind of use it for a heat sink on the way back to my car to keep my fingers warmer, you know. And I got back to the car, put the socks that I was using for my hands, I put one over one side of the brick, one over the other side of the brick, and I ended up putting that brick on a shelf. And at my grandpa's old house, that brick was identical to one of the bricks that house was built out of. And I put it on a shelf in this old garage. It was an old Model A garage that had the 2 cement runners with the grass growing in the middle. I don't know if you've seen those. Younger people probably wouldn't know that. But in the garage was skinnier, a regular car wouldn't fit in. But I had it on the shelf there. Well, I was thinking I'd keep that brick forever, but then one day I come over to the house, and you know, my grandpa had been long gone at that point, but my dad and that had the house on it then. But my dad and my stepmom, they had got a dumpster to clean stuff out, and they ended up tossing out the brick, and I was so bummed out. But I thought, well, I know the story, and I didn't want to dig through that whole dumpster. And they didn't know, I didn't get mad at them or even say nothing to them about it. I just thought, they just probably looked at it like, what the heck is this, a couple socks with a brick in it, But anyway, that's my brick story, and I wanted to share it. And because of that, even though I think I know, I don't think I doubted God's existence, even because I was talking and singing to him the whole time. I was just hurting and threw a test, and I'm lucky he didn't, zap me with lightning or something, but he amazed me, So that's my brick story, and it's a true story. May God strike me dead if it's not true, So he does exist. There's no doubt in my mind. And even when you go through tough times like I'm going through now, I know it's going to be okay. I know I'll make it through it. And I remember my mom used to tell me, she's gone now too, but she used to tell me that no matter how bad it gets, always remember that it will always, always, always get better, And it's come true so many times. Another thing my mom told me is, she said, look at all those times. This is important for a lot of people, I think. Because if we look back at our lives and think about some of the hard times we've been through, unless this is your first time going through something hard, but it's still good for you for future reference, is that if you can look back at hard times that you have went through that you thought there was no way out, or would it ever get better, whatever, and then you end up making through it, life gets better, but you forget about that challenge because life is better. Well, sometimes we need to look back at that when we're in a tough situation and realize that it ain't gonna last forever, that things will get better, you just gotta keep pushing forward, and as long as you're a believer, keep your faith and keep praying to God, talking to God. You can talk to God anytime you want, there's no special way to pray, and some people might argue with that, but that's not my view. My view is I talk to God every day, multiple times a day. I talk to him just like I'm talking to this camera now, and well, it's a little easier for me to talk to God. The camera, I don't know why I'm nervous about a camera more than I am talking to God. I don't know, but I talk to him all the time during stuff. I just, and when I'm around other people, I don't talk to them because I'm socializing then. But there's friends or family I'm with that while I'm with them, it don't faze me at all. Out of nowhere, while I'm with them, just something happened, I'll be like, well, thank you, Lord, I'm really glad we got to see this today, or something, I don't hide that anymore. God told me he wanted me to start talking about him more, and so that's what I'm doing. It's part of why I got this channel going. When I was younger, I didn't do that because as a kid I heard people calling other people Bible bangers and stuff like that, so you kind of hid that stuff. But I'm just kind of babbling on. I hope these videos aren't too sloppy. I've got to get used to camera, and eventually maybe I'll kind of get a format or schedule going, or something, lay it out better or something. But if I could, I'd like to just get comfortable on camera where I can just be myself and I don't want to have to do notes or nothing. I just want to be able to talk and say what I'm supposed to say. And because I'm feeling led to do this, hopefully it's all coming out right, And I've got so many other amazing stories, but can't squeeze them all into one video, But my brick story is a very, very important one I wanted to share. I've been starting to take some little notes, thinking about my whole life and trying to remember different experiences I've had, so I can have some notes of some stuff I can talk about. And my brick story is one that came up that I've told that to quite a few people, especially lately, So I hope that all sits with you well. I hope I'm not boring. I hope I'm worth watching. And I hope this channel grows, and I hope this channel helps people. I'm hoping that this will turn out to where some people get inspired by it, maybe. I don't know, but I'm supposed to do it. I believe I'm supposed to do it. So I can't imagine it's going to end up bad if I'm supposed to do it. So, and my honest feeling is that things are going to get really, really good. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know I'm going to get there, and it's going to happen. And I think it's going to be better than it's been, you know. And I'm excited about it, actually. There's my timer. I think I set a 20-minute timer because I didn't want to babble on too long and make the video too long, because I know people got things to do, and some people like to have a little bit shorter videos so they ain't got to burn up their time, you know. Thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe. I hope you share it if you've got people that you think would like to see it, or that it might help or make them or get them closer to God. And you can always talk to God anytime you want. He's always there to listen. I promise you that. You know, He is. He's always there. And God bless all you beautiful souls. Thanks for watching, and I guess hopefully we'll see you again on video number 4, and hopefully I'll get better. Have a good one. I don't know how to sign out yet. I'll have to come up with some type of maybe kind of a hook at the end or something. I don't know. Well, once again, God bless y'all. I love y'all. And run to God.